Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Launch 2024. Our keynote session is going to start in just about a minute. We're going to wait for one more minute to let everyone join, and then we'll get going. Thanks for being here today.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome, everyone. If you're just joining us, welcome to our keynote address. We're going to begin in about 1 minute. All right, everyone, it is 9:30. Welcome to our keynote address at this year's Launch 2024 Virtual Student Conference. Thank you so much for being here. I have the pleasure today to introduce you to our keynote address, Aubrey Noronha. Aubrey is here with us today. He is from hellohope.ca. He has been speaking for years at schools to students, teachers, and families of all grades, but has found a huge passion specifically for grades 9 to 12 students. He has worked in classrooms, in the community, and in jails for young people in Canada, helping kids who have been behind bars find hope since before most of you were born. He's also been a crisis negotiator within the jail system. I bet there's a lot of interesting stories there, and run critical incident debriefs for people who have been impacted by terrorism and other traumatic events. Last but not least, Aubrey is a singer and has sung duets with Polo G, Billie Eilish, Kendrick Lamar, while listening to them on his Bluetooth speaker in the shower. He's got a lot of hope for us here at Launch 2024 and is here from Toronto, Ontario to speak with you today. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Aubrey.
Thank you so much, Ramsey, and it is so good to be here with all of you. If any of you have a phone or you know somebody who has a phone, you've probably seen the Maps app before, right? You maybe have seen Google Maps or Apple Maps or Waze. And if you've ever opened up that Maps app before, as soon as you open it, the first thing that you usually see is this. You'll see that blue dot. And this blue dot, it usually shows three things. If you have a good Wi-Fi connection or good reception or good data, there are three things that are happening with this app, with this blue dot. The first thing that is happening is it's pulsing, right? This blue dot, when you first open the app, you'll notice that it's pulsing. It has a pulse. It's kind of like saying that the blue dot is breathing. And because you are the one who opened the app, that blue dot represents you. That blue dot is essentially you. It's kind of like saying that that blue dot is showing that you are the one who has a pulse. You're the one who's breathing. That's your pulse. This moment on this app with this blue dot is all about you. That's the first thing that you'll notice with the blue dot. Number two, it shows your location. It shows where you're at. It shows what city you're in. It shows what street you're on. And if you zoom in close enough, it can actually show you what part of the street you're on. And this is kind of creepy, but you could actually sometimes even know what part of the building you're in. All right. So that's the second thing it shows, your location, where you are. The third thing is that it shows your direction. It shows where you're going. It shows what direction you're facing, where you could go, where you could end up. Now, some of you who have seen me at your schools, whether it's in Ottawa or in Peel region or in Durham, I know we have some other boards that are attending as well. You know that, when I do speak to older students, I speak to little ones as well. But when I speak to the older students, I often talk about my former career as a corrections officer. I used to work at, somebody put in the chat, did he work at federal or provincial? I worked at a provincial jail here in Ontario. I was a corrections officer working in the youth justice system. This is a picture of what some of the cells look like here in Ontario. I worked at a couple of jails here in Ontario for young people who got in trouble with the law. Behind bars, believe it or not, even though the average age of the people in my jail was 17, 18, 16, I did work with guys as old as 23, and believe it or not, as young as 12. This is a picture of what one of the jail cells could look like here in Ontario. And as you can imagine, it was pretty boring for the guys who were incarcerated or who were locked up. When I would walk in, this is what I would see. Now, obviously, I worked in the youth justice division, so I worked with younger people. So it wasn't older men, it was young guys. I did work on a girls' unit as well, but for majority of my career, I worked with males. And, when I would walk in on my shift, we usually did 12-hour shifts. So I'd come in at 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. or 11 a.m. till 11 p.m. And when I would walk into the unit, the main area, this is kind of what I would see. This is very accurate to what I would see. Obviously, the guys were younger, and instead of orange, they would be wearing gray or burgundy. But the tables were pretty much the same. All of the furniture was bolted into the ground. There was a small TV. There were phones on the walls, but not a lot of privacy. And when I'd walk into the jail, I would say hi to the guys. Hey, what's going on, guys? What's up? How you doing? What's up? They'd say hi to me. My last name is Noronha, but they called me Corona. My last shift there at the jail was right when the pandemic was kind of starting, COVID-19. So a lot of them called me Corona. But when I walk into that main area, the guys would be like, yo, what's going on, Noronha? Or what's going on, Corona? And I would answer, and I'd be like, hey, what's up, guys? Nice to see you. Sorry that I'm seeing you in here. I'm glad to be alive. I'm doing all right. Thanks for asking. But then I would ask these guys the same question. And remember, most of the guys in my jail were around y'all's age, right? Grade 10, grade 11, grade 12, 15, 16, 17. When I asked them that same question, and by the way, shout out to the Peel District School Board, because your schools are very close to the jail that I worked at. So you may know exactly where I'm talking. When I would walk into that jail, when I'd walk into this main unit, and I'd ask the guys, how are you doing? What's going on? What's up? What's good? The answer that I would get most of the time, the answer that most of the guys said to me most of the time, was these three words. I'm just here. I'm just here, man. I'm just here, fam. I'm just here, bro. Three little words, but they actually have such a big meaning. Three little words that have a big impact in a person's mind or on a person's heart or on their personal life. And it's not just the people that I worked with in the jail. It's not just those young guys that were in the jail that would say, I'm just here. Even today, I'll ask friends of mine in their 20s or in their 30s or in their 40s or in their 50s. Or when I go to a lot of your schools in Ottawa or in Peel or in Toronto or in York or in Durham or Renfrew, I'll ask students, what's going on? How are you doing? And so many times I'll hear these three words. I'm just here. Now, do you see the faces of the people on my slide on the left side there? That's usually the face of a person who says, I'm just here. I'm just here. They're breathing, but they're only breathing. They're existing, but they're only existing. And I see this face on so many students and so many adults these days. And I'm sure many of you, when you're at school, in person, in the hallway, in the cafeteria, in class, I'm sure many of you, there's over 20,000 of you who are here right now watching this. You see this at your school a lot. You see friends and peers that look just like this. Maybe some of you look like this a lot. This face that you see on that slide right there, that's the face that pretty much says, nah, there's not much going on. There's not much that makes you feel excited. There's not much that makes you feel angry. There's not much that does anything for you. And I believe that a lot of the times when people say, I'm just here, I believe it's because deep in their mind, deep in their heart, deep in their soul, they don't know the answers to these three questions. What am I doing? What is the point? Where can I go from here? They don't know what they're doing. And I'm not just talking about teenagers. I'm also talking about adults as well. But they don't know what they're really doing. They don't even know what the point is of anything. What's the point of today? What's the point of any day? What's the point of even my life? And they're definitely not asking the question, where can I go from here? They're not really thinking about the future. This is why I love this launch conference, because literally, I don't know if any of you went onto the website, the OCDSB website, but literally on the website of this conference, it says what the whole point of today is. For all 20,000 plus of you, 20 plus thousand of you, the whole point of today is this. It says it right there on the website. It says graduation is an important milestone. However, it is not just a destination, but rather a launching point for students' life journey. The future is calling, y'all. The future is calling. And, you know what happens on those maps if you don't ever put in the destination of where you want to go? Do you know what happens to that blue dot? If you don't know where you're going, if you don't know what that blue dot is going to do, it will be just here. It will still be pulsing. You'll still be breathing. You'll still be existing in grade 10, grade 11, and grade 12. But what good is this app if you're just here? And then I realized that, it's almost like some people are in a jail in their mind and in their heart, not behind bars, like where I used to work. They're breathing, they're existing, but they're not living. Now, not everybody will admit it, but a lot of adults and a lot of younger adults like yourselves, they are feeling like this. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what the point of all of this is. And if any of you, over the next 49 minutes and 47 seconds, because I'll be done exactly at 10:30, if any of you feel like, I'm just here, I don't really know what's going on, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm just here. If any of you feel like that today, I have something for you. A delivery, if you will. If you've ever seen Amazon deliver packages on somebody's door, right, you'll know that they deliver a zillion packages a day. And if you sign up for Amazon Prime, it means you'll get your package even earlier. Without Prime, it may take 5 to 7 days or longer. But if you get Prime, you get your package in 2 days or 1 day or even same day. You get it in prime time. Well, today I have some prime packages for you, for your head and for your heart. I only got 49 minutes with you. If any of you feel like I'm just here, I got some 3 prime points, is what I like to call them, for your head and for your heart. And I'm not ashamed to say that I want to speak to your head and to your heart today. A lot of people don't like to talk about what's going on in their head and in their heart because maybe they don't feel like they can trust others with that delicate information, or they feel like they're a burden to others, or they feel like people are going to laugh at them. A lot of people don't like to share what's going on in their head and in their heart. But you know what? At the end of the day, grade 12s, grade 11s, grade 12s, everything you do is connected to your head and to your heart. Everything you do when you launch out of high school into adulthood, it's connected to your head and to your heart. When I used to work in the jail as an officer, a lot of my fellow officers and even the guys on the unit, the guys who were locked up, they were surprised at how I conducted myself. Even though I'm a bigger guy, I'm 6'2", 250, 260 pounds. I didn't come into work trying to be this big threat of a guy. I came in with my head and with my heart. And I noticed that when I came in like that, it changed the whole atmosphere of the unit, of the jail. Yes, there were still fights, but there were a lot less fights when I was there. And some of the guys would tell me on the low, they'd say, you're here, we can feel that you care, we want to keep things a little bit calmer. So here are my 3 prime points for you, for your heads and for your hearts. as the people who are going to be running this place very soon, as the future leaders. Here's prime point number one. The world is better off with you here. I'll say it again. The world is better off with you here. Now, I know there's some of you that are watching this, you're live streaming this in your classrooms on a whiteboard. So there's a few of you in the room together. I also know that many of you are just watching this on your own personal laptop or Chromebook or whatever. If we were all in person, right now, I'd be like, say to the person next to you, the world is better off with you here. And some of you would be like, I'm not doing that. This is whack. And some of you would do it and you'd laugh, and that's fine. But I just want to share this point. The world is better off with you here, grade 12s, grade 11s, grade 10s. The world is better off with you here. Now, please don't misunderstand me. I'm not trying to say something really cheesy or fluffy or mushy. I'm not trying to give you empty flattery, give you some fake compliment. I'm not trying to say that you're the most important person in the world, that you're perfect, that you never make mistakes, that everybody should always clap when you come into the room. I'm not trying to say that everything about you is lovely all the time. I'm not trying to say that your farts don't stink, okay? Because they do. I'm not trying to say you're a perfect flower. I'm not trying to say you're the most important person in the world. But what I am trying to say is that you are the most important you in the world. There are no other yous in the world. There may be people like you. There may be people that look like you. You might even have an identical twin, but even identical twins are still individuals. And there's no you, other yous in this world. The world is better off with you here. And even though some of you right now, I mean, there's over 20,000 of you right now that are here. You all have your own individual lives. Some of you, maybe many of you, are maybe going through something in your life right now. And I'm not even just talking to the students. I'm talking to the adults in the room who are watching this too. I'm talking to the educators. Some of you are going through a lot maybe right now. And if there's a 1 in a million chance that I can make you believe this point number one, that the world is better off with you here, it should make you feel good. This is a screenshot of a commercial that came out a few years ago. And it was a social experiment that was done. Basically, this commercial, this video was a social experiment. 2 signs were put up in front of 2 entrances into a building. One of the signs said beautiful, the other said average. And the people who were conducting this experiment were using a hidden camera to capture the behavior and the facial expressions of the people who were walking up to the doors. And the camera shows what people did when they saw their 2 choices, beautiful or average, when they saw which doors they could choose from to walk through. Now, I'm going to just play maybe a minute of this video for you. It has some subtitles in it because there are multiple languages and cultures represented, but do your best to catch the vibe. I want you to watch how some of these people reacted when they saw their 2 choices in this video.
It was my choice. And now I will question myself for the next few weeks, maybe months.
We had an option of 2 pathways to walk, and they led to 2 doorways. It was a bit confronting, actually, to be honest, to see these big signs and feeling like you had to choose and be self-conscious of how you perceive yourself and perhaps if it lines up with how the rest of the world perceives you.
I went through the average door.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I didn't even hesitate.
漂亮对我的概念来说，就是像明星那种遥不可及的那种。我走的是一般。
Mas eu acho que é mais porque eu me arrependi da escolha, porque era diferente do que eu vivo, é diferente do que eu sou.
Am I choosing because of what's constantly bombarded at me, what I'm being told that I should accept, or am I choosing because that's what I really believe?
I walked into that door which said average, and I didn't feel really good after that, because obviously I had rated myself average and nobody else.
The video is a little bit longer. I thought I would just pause it there. There's a few things that stood out to me about this video. A few people stood out to me. One of them was that woman right there who looked up. She saw her two options and she was like, nah, I'm good. And she just left. She didn't want to be confronted with picking a door. I thought that was really interesting. Another person that stood out to me was a woman who said that she walked through the average door, but she didn't feel good afterwards. I don't know if you saw this one part, but there was a woman who said, I usually go through the average door, but today I chose to go through the beautiful door. And the best part is that she started to smile, not even realizing that there was a camera there until afterwards. So it was such a natural reaction. It was like she knew she made the right choice. You didn't see this part, but near the very end, there was this mother and daughter who were walking together, and the daughter was about to walk through the average door, and her mom like grabs her and says, "Oh no, you don't. You're going through the beautiful door." Here's the thing, and it kind of ends with a quote that says, "The beautiful door is completely open for me." Now, here's the thing I realized when I watched this. It was targeted towards women and girls. It was like a Dove soap commercial. But I realized this is not just about beauty, and this is not just about girls. This is about anybody who is breathing. This is about any human being. Every day, every hour of every day, every moment of every day, grade 12s, grade 11s, grade 10s, you as human beings, you have a choice to make. Which door are you going to walk through in your head and in your heart? When you wake up in the morning and you leave your home or wherever you sleep and you walk through that first physical door, you've also got a choice of what door you're going to walk through in your head and in your heart. Which one are you going to walk through? You know, when you go into an eyeglasses store, the person at the store gives you glasses to try on because they want you to try on different frames, different lenses. I want you to pretend, figuratively speaking, that I'm going to give you some symbolic glasses to try on. If you're not too cool, just go like this for like 1 second, all right? Just as a helpful body reminder of what I'm about to try to share with you. I want to hand you a lens in which to see the world. I want to hand you a new way of looking at the world over the next 39 minutes. I'll keep on referring to the time so you know that how much time we got left. I want to hand you a lens right now in your head and in your heart, a new way of looking at the world, a new way of looking at the people in your class, the people in your grade, the people in your school. I want to hand you a new way of looking at the people in your neighborhood, a new way of looking at your staff members at your schools, a new way of looking at people in your family, a new way of looking at people online, even the trolls. And I want to hand you a new way of looking at even strangers and even yourself. And if I can get you to see what I want you to see right now, my hope is that you will never, ever unsee people this way. Again, you'll always be able to see yourself and people this way. You ready? Here it is. This is the thing I want you to see. Here it is. This is the lens I want you to put on. Every person you meet has infinite worth. There's a researcher and author by the name of Ken Hoffman who said that. He said, every person you meet has infinite worth. Like, what the heck does this have to do with Launch 2024? What does this have to do with careers? What does this have to do with jobs? Give me 38 minutes and I think I'll be able to explain it. Every person you meet has infinite worth. Now, remember when you were in grade 1 or grade 2 or grade 3 and you first heard that word infinity? When you think about numbers and you first heard about infinity, what did that mean? It meant never ending. It meant it just keeps on going on forever. It meant you can't count how high the number is because it's uncountable, incalculable, right? My daughter, she's in grade 5 right now, but when she was in kindergarten or grade 1 or grade 2, and I would pick her up from school and I'd say, hey, baby, how was your day today on a scale of 1 to 10? What did she say? Infinity. And she had this sweet little smile on her face. And because, you know, she was losing her baby teeth, she had like a gap in her teeth, right? She would say infinity. It was so great. It was so important. It was so valuable. It really mattered. when Ken is saying what he said in this quote here, that every person you meet has infinite worth, every person in your family, every person in your class, even if you don't like them, even if they don't like you, everybody online, even the people that don't get along, every stranger you meet, even if we just walk past each other and never even make contact, and you yourself, the person that you see in the mirror, the person that you meet every day when you wake up and you're conscious, every single one of those people have infinite worth. Every person at this conference has infinite worth. All 20+ thousand of you. That's the whole reason why this launch conference even exists. It's because all of you are worth it. Every single one of you has infinite worth. Sorry if you're hearing a bunch of sirens. I live right by a hospital, so there's lots of ambulances that go by. There's no number, grade 12s, grade 11s, grade 10s. There's no number, there's no amount of money that is high enough to describe how important and how valuable you are, just as a person, how much you matter. I love that word matter. You know those beautiful orange signs that we're seeing in the last 10 years that say every child matters or Black Lives Matter? Why do we have these beautiful signs? Because people need to know and sometimes need to be reminded that they matter, even if they're not treated like they matter. Every person you meet is a person of infinite worth. It's infinite. You have that infinite worth. And all you had to do to have that infinite worth is be born. That's it. Now, remember when I told you about my daughter and how she would say, when I'd say, "How was your day today?" She'd say, "It was infinity." She'd have that big smile. You can let me know in the chat if you want, but what number do you think on a scale of 1 to 10, most grade 10s, grade 11s, and 12s would say their life is at? Would they ever say infinity? Would they even get close to 10? I doubt it, right? Most of the times when I come to your high schools and I talk to people, I'm not seeing big smiles. I'm not seeing people who feel like their life is infinitely great. Maybe if we can get to a 5 or a 4 out of 10, but we're not breaking past the 10 going to infinity, right? Do you smile like that in life? Do the people that you're around, do they smile like that in life? According to a new study, thank you for all of you who have started to put the, I'm seeing people writing 2.78, I don't know. No, we need therapy. A 4, 1. Somebody just said, I'm in the right place. All right. Somebody put infinity. Shout out to you, ND, for writing infinity. Now, there was a study that came out from the Center of Disease Control and Prevention that from 2009 to 2021, high school students said that their feelings of sadness went from 26% up to 44%. The highest level of teenager sadness that's ever been recorded. Here in Canada, the Centre for Addiction and Mental Health, CAMH, they published a survey that said that more than half of Ontario students reported feeling or experiencing feelings of depression about the future because of like COVID-19. And more than a third of those students said that they felt like it was impacting their mental health. This is talking about high school students. Now, here's what's interesting. What else happened in the last 13 to 15 years? If I asked you to put it in the chat, I know what you'd write. You'd write phones and social media. Now, I'm just going to tell you right now, I'm not going to get on a big rant and complain about phones and social media and virtual. I wouldn't be able to talk to all 20+ thousand of you if it hadn't been for virtual. But I do want to highlight a couple of interesting things that happened in this same time period. Exactly 20 years ago is when Facebook blew up. That social media network that most of you probably don't use, but a lot of the adults you guys use, right? When Facebook first came out 20 years ago, I was 20. I just turned 40, all right? I was 20. And Facebook was so dope. It was so cool because all of us who were in our 20s were like, what is this thing, Facebook? We can find some of our old elementary school friends and some of our old high school friends. And what did we do? We just creeped their profiles and we looked at their pictures of their family, pictures of their dog, pictures of their coffee or their dinner. That's all people posted online 20 years ago. And then in 2009, the like button was created. Most of you don't know what life was like before the like button was created. life was actually different. And I'm not trying to be like silly. I'm being serious. When the like button was first introduced, everything changed in the world. It's crazy how one little button could change so much. And what I mean is, before the like button, if you posted a picture of your dog or posted a selfie, you know, people would comment on it and be like, hey, what's up? How you doing? You know, you look great. Nice dog, whatever. Nice picture of your dinner. But when the like button came out, all of a sudden, people weren't just posting things to share with each other. They were actually starting to think harder and harder about how can I get more likes? Because when that notification pops up on my phone of a like, you know what it does? It sends a signal to my brain. Just like in a casino, if any of you have ever heard of slot machines before, a slot machine was designed to be addictive, to make a signal of pleasure go into your brain. So you'll keep on pressing the slot machine more. And the more you do it, the more money the casino will make. Well, guess what happened with Meta? Guess what happened with Facebook and Instagram and all of these social media things? When they created the like button, they literally designed it to be so addictive that it'll keep you coming back for more, because it just feels good when that pops up. 5 likes, 7 likes, 333 likes. And then the heart button came out, right? And the more we stay on the apps, the more money Meta makes, the more money Snap makes, the more money Instagram makes, whatever. The more money the app developers make. In 2010, Instagram blew up, Snapchat started to grow. But you know what else started to happen in 2010? It was the first time ever that phones had a selfie camera. There were no phones with selfie cameras before 2010. All we had was this one. So all of a sudden, selfies just completely skyrocketed. The average person takes 450 selfies a year, 1 to 4 a day, average, okay? What's really interesting is that scientists have found that, you know, because the camera on a phone, it defaults into the reverse image, our brains have actually gotten used to the reverse image of ourselves. So scientists are finding that people actually prefer the mirror image of themselves than their true image. And how many of you can let me know in this in the chat, just put a yes or a yup in the chat if any of you have ever done this. Have you ever noticed when you're on FaceTime or you're on video chat with somebody on Snap or WhatsApp or whatever, have you ever noticed that you look at yourself more than you look at the actual person that you're talking to? Things changed when we had that selfie camera. Yeah, thank you for that. 2015, 70% of most high school students, they said, you know, or they had some kind of device. 2017, TikTok blew up. And 2 years ago, over 50% of the world was on social media. And if you look carefully, what's happened in the last 20 years? 20 years ago, we had social media networks. Now we have social media platforms. What's another word for platform? Stage. And what do people do on stages? They perform. And so now people are just trying to get enough likes, and maybe they can get sponsored by TikTok, get a branding deal, be like Drewski. There's a movie that came out a few years ago, and one of the guys who directed this movie, called The Social Dilemma, his name is Tristan Harris, and he works for this amazing organization called the Center for Humane Technology. And what he wanted to do was he wanted to expose all of the stuff that's behind the scenes with a lot of social media. There are 2 quotes in this documentary that really scared me and blew me away. The first one was this: if you tell people this is bad for you, they won't always listen. Right? If I came up to you, all 20,000+ of you, and said, stop being on social media, stop being on your phones, it's bad for you. Nobody wants to hear that. But if you tell people this is how you're being controlled, nobody wants to feel manipulated. Sometimes I do talk for boys, and I'll talk about, you know, Mr. Top G. I won't say his name. I'll talk about how all of these guys are expecting me to say, you know, we'll just call him AT, you know, he's bad for you. He's bad for you. Don't watch Top G on TikTok. I'm not going to tell you that, but what I will tell you is this: nobody wants to be manipulated. And there's a lot of content that manipulates. Here's the other quote that really blew me away. There are only 2 industries that call their customers users, illegal drugs, and software. I'm showing a bunch of quotes to you because you're the older students. If this was like grade 7, I have a grade 7 version of this talk. It's totally different. But you're the older ones, you can handle some of the quotes, right? There are only 2 industries that call their customers users: illegal drugs and software. One of the former president of Facebook, look at what he said. He said, we need to give you a little dopamine hit every once in a while because somebody liked or commented on your photo or post. It's a social validation feedback loop. You're exploiting a vulnerability in human psychology. The inventors of these apps understood this consciously, and we did it anyway. Yowzers. When I say to you here at this launch conference 2024 that every person you meet has infinite worth, I'm not just talking about who, what they look like. I'm talking about who they are, who you are. You all have infinite worth. When I do my presentations on racism, I always try to get the little kids to look at each other and realize that we're a part of the same human family, right? Any of you who saw me a few years ago when you were in elementary school, you may have remembered that I did this with the younger students. This is what I say when I'm doing my talks on racism with the little kids. I'll say, grade 1s, if you're a human being and if I'm a human being, that means we're all a part of the same human race. Can you say human race? Human race. And if you're a part of the human race and I'm a part of the human race, we're all a part of the same worldwide human family. Can you say human family? Human family. And it's a beautiful moment. The sunshine appears in the gym. Everybody feels all nice and warm and fuzzy inside. And then I get them to point to each other with all of their different haircuts, different skin colors, different cultures, different whatever. And I say, now point to each other and say, what's up, family? Or older kids, what's up, fam? The older kids are too cool to say, what's up, family? If St. Pete's is here in grade 12 in Ottawa, I remember you. You guys were very good. You played along. You just dapped each other up and said, what's up, fam? If any of you are around other people right now and you're not too cool, I challenge you to do that. Point to 3 people right now and say, what's up, fam? Because we're a part of the same human family. I'm not trying to suggest that we're one big happy family. We don't all like each other. Most of you will never invite me over to your home for dinner. I'm not trying to say that we even have to like each other. Family is family, even if we don't like each other, even if we don't get along. But my point is this. If I look at every single one of you, at all of these schools, not just you 20,000+ students, but all of you hundreds of educators who are helping make this happen. If I look at every single one of you like you're just a bunch of strangers, I may not give a care. I may not give a care about what's happening in your life, even though something serious might be happening in your life, because you're a stranger to me. I may not want to stop the harm if I saw you getting pushed around across the street, because you're a stranger to me. Now look at this slide again. If I look at you as members of my human family, chances are a little bit higher I'm going to give a care, and I'm going to want to stop the harm. So why did I ask you to point to each other and say, what's up, fam? It's because if I see you as strangers, I may not care. But if I see you as members of my human family, I may care. And there's a lot of people in our human family who are being hurt and harmed. So when I asked you to put on those symbolic, figurative glasses, one part of the glasses is that every person you meet is of infinite worth. The other part is that we're all a part of the same human family. That one lens, if you can put that on, that can change everything for everybody. When I used to work in the jail, the biggest insult that the guys in the jail used to call each other, you know what it was? They used to call each other a waste. Out of all the words in the world, why would you call somebody a waste? Or some people would say, you're a waste youth, or you're a waste man, or you're a waste. And I thought, that's so fascinating. I'll get back to that in another minute. Let me just move on to point number 2. So point number 1 is, the world is better off with you here. Here's point number 2. The world is better off with you here, even when you're not treated like it. You're not always going to be treated like it, right? You're not. Life is not always going to treat you like it. That is better that you're here. Other people are not always going to treat you like it's better that you're here. And you yourself, you may not even treat yourself like it's better that you're here. When I say life, I'm talking about how life can be hard. Life be lifing. It changes. Circumstances change. All of you know somebody who's maybe been in an accident in the last couple of years. All of you know somebody who's got a sickness or a disease. All of you know somebody who's lost a job. All of you know somebody who's maybe lost someone that they care about to death and sickness. When I talk about poverty, There are people in Peel region. There are people in Renfrew. There are people in Ottawa. There are people in Durham, in Ajax, in Pickering, in Caledon, in Bowmanville, whatever. There are people who literally gave to a food bank, gave donations, non-perishable foods in 2023. And in 2024, because of life circumstances, they now need to go to that food bank for help and support. So life will not always treat you like it's better that you're here. And I'm not just talking to you amazing students, I'm talking to you amazing educators too. Because a lot of you educators, you came to work today to teach these students, and life is not treating you that great too, right? People will not always treat you like it's better that you're here. People can be mean, man. People can be mean. Of course, there's online. We already know about the drama online, but right now, in class, in the hallway, in the bathroom, in the cafeteria, for any of you who are doing placement for co-op, people can be mean. For any of you adults who are watching this, you know that not all of the interactions with all of your colleagues, even though you're all professionals, are always going to feel good. People will not always treat you like it's better that you're here. And then all of you grade 12s, 11s, and 10s, when you launch into your career and into the workforce, I promise you, even though I'm a happy and hopeful guy, you need to know this. As I said, when I worked in the jail, the biggest insult that the guys used to call each other was a waste. And I thought that was so fascinating. But then I realized, why would they call each other a waste? It's because, what do you put in a waste bin? Something that's not worth keeping around, something that's not worth your time. When I buy a really nice sausage and egg McMuffin from McDonald's in that yellow wrapper, I don't keep the wrapper. I dash it out. Why? Because it's not worth my time. It's not worth keeping. And so when people treat each other like they're a waste, they're essentially saying you're not worth being kind to. You're not worth building up. Every single one of you who are watching, you're all the opposite of a waste. You're all worth it. And every day I want you to walk through that door in your mind, in your heart, that says, I'm worth it. One of the reasons this whole launch conference is happening and being streamed to thousands of you is because these adults and myself, we all think you're worth it. You have infinite worth. You're worth celebrating. You're worth reminding that to. But life is not always going to treat you like that. Other people are not always going to treat you like that. They say that in elementary school, you'll have about 30 friends. In middle school, 20 friends. In high school, 10 friends. In college, 3 real friends. I'll be honest with you. As you get older, you realize it's not about quantity. It's about quality. Most of you have more followers on YouTube and on Snap and on Instagram than I do. Most of you have more followers than me. And that's okay. Because to me, it's not about how many followers I have. It's not even about how many friends I have. It's about the quality of the relationships I have. If I was there in person right now, I'd ask all of you educators, all of you staff members, to show me with your hands how many really close friends you have. And most people never have more than 5. I've got like 2 or 3, right? One of them is here right now on the other side of this computer encouraging me. And he was just like, yeah, tell him again. My brother Andrew. Why? Because it's not about quantity. It's about quality. It's about the people who can lift you up when you're feeling pushed down from the weight of life. All of us are carrying some kind of weight. You know, when you go to preschool, when you go to kindergarten, you have your little cute backpack with SpongeBob on it or Pokemon, right? Then you go to high school, you have a cooler backpack. And then when you start to get into the workforce, maybe you have like a professional bag. But the reality is grade 12s, grade 11s, grade 10s, all of us are still carrying a backpack in our heart. And the world can be kind of mean. Our colleagues can sometimes be mean. Our classmates can be mean. And it just makes us feel like a weight is on us and it keeps us not moving. So we're like that blue dot that is just here. Imagine if we were to be more aware of the weight that everybody is carrying on their head and in their heart. You staff members, you educators, you custodians, you principals, you secretaries, the crossing guard, the person that you buy lunch from at lunch, the person in the caf. If we could figure out ways to lighten the load on one another's hearts, I guarantee you things would change in our community. Here's the last and most important point I want you to know, okay? Point number 1 was, yes, the world is better off with you here. And point number 2 is, the The world is better off with you here, even when you're not treated like it. Here's the last and most important one. I got 17 minutes left. I may skip a couple of slides because I was getting all passionate. But here's the third one. You ready? Here it is. Even though number 1 and number 2 are true, life is not all about you. And that's actually a good thing. If you don't want to be just here and you want that blue dot to go somewhere, you've got to remember that life is not all about you, and that's awesome. When I talk to little kids in my little kid presentations, I am so full of energy. I sing for them. I dance for them. I beatbox for them. I do all the little things you got to do to keep little kids' attention. I stopped doing that with grade 10s, 11s, and 12s like 3 years ago for 3 reasons. Number one, I got so many messages in my DMs on Instagram from students your age who were like, don't try to be cool. If you try really hard to be cool, it'll end up being cringe. So don't try to be cool. Just be honest and we'll probably listen. So I said, okay, cool. The second reason I don't try to be really funny with your age group anymore is because, well, how many of you have been told by any of your adults in your life, whether it's family members or those amazing educators in Durham or in Peel or in Renfrew or in Ottawa, how many of you have ever been told, grade 10s, grade 11s, grade 12s, you are the leaders of this school. You are the leaders of the future. You've all heard that before. And you know what a lot of grade 10s, 11s, and 12s do when they hear that from adults like me? They make this face. And when we were your age, we made this face too. We made this face that was like, oh gosh, yeah, we get it. We're the leaders of the future. Woohoo, right? We're not supposed to push little kids down at recess in grade 7. We're not supposed to say mean words to people. We're not supposed to post racist or homophobic or sexist things about others online. We're not supposed to make fun of people's identity or their body shape or their weight. We're not supposed to make fun of somebody's accent. We're not supposed to make fun of what they had for lunch. We're not supposed to say hateful things on Snap. We're not supposed to use pictures as revenge. We shouldn't say this word or that word or that word or that racist word or the N-word. Well, my friend gave me the N-word pass. Yeah, bro, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. It causes harm, right? If you've ever been told that you are the leaders of the future, it's true. I agree with all these amazing adults in your life, but I want to remind you of this. Every single one of you that are watching, all 20,000+ of you that are watching right now, please remember this. You are the leaders of tomorrow, but you're the leaders of tomorrow whether you want to be or not. You're the leaders of tomorrow whether you care or not, and you're the leaders whether or not you're good at it. Even if you suck at it, you're still going to be the new leaders. And I do think I speak on behalf of all of these adults, all of these hundreds and hundreds of adults who are here hosting this, when I say this. We have a lot of hope for you. But I do need to remind you that you're going to be running this place whether you want to or whether you care or whether or not you're good at it. I need you to know it's still going to happen. In the Catholic Board, because I know we have Ottawa Catholic helping host it. Shout out to the OCDSB. In the Catholic Board, they have something called virtues education. In the public board, I believe it's called character education. You've probably heard about this, but in the Catholic Board, it's called virtue education, and in the public board, it's called character education. And pretty much every assembly that you had in your gym since you were in kindergarten, any assembly that talked about being nice to people, stop bullying, all of that stuff falls under the umbrella of something called character education. I'm going to read to you one of the formal definitions of character education. It's in small letters for a reason, because number one, even though it's a good definition, it's really long and it's kind of boring. But I'm going to try to do it in one breath. Here we go. This is what character education is, or virtue education. Character education is an umbrella term loosely used to describe the teaching of children and adults in a manner that will help them to develop variously as moral, civic, good-mannered, behaved, non-bullying, healthy, critical, successful, traditional, compliant, and socially acceptable beings. You know my definitions of character education? Like even me being invited to speak to you today, this all falls under character education. You know what my definition of character education is? It's this. It's the kind of education that inspires you to go out of your way to not mess up somebody's life. That's all it is. Character education is the kind of education that inspires you to go out of your way to not mess up somebody else's life. And to go out of your way to want to build a sweeter, safer, and stronger community. But here's the question. Why? Why do that? Why go out of your way to not mess up somebody else's life? Why go out of your way to build a sweeter and safer and stronger community? Why not just focus on you? And only you, and forget everybody else. Forget everybody else in your class. Forget all these young people. Forget all these adults. Just focus on you. Why bother? Since you were in kindergarten, what else have you been told? Be nice to people, be kind to people, be caring to people. It was so annoying when I was a kid to always hear that from the adults in my life. And I think the reason why I was annoyed by it was because nobody said why. What's in it for me? What's in it for me to be nice to people and to be kind to people, to be caring? You know, you're in grade 10, grade 11, and 12, and in order to graduate, you're going to have to do 40 hours of volunteer work. You know this, right? You have to do 40 hours of volunteer work. Doesn't that sound kind of funny? You have to. Before the year 1999, 25 years ago, when I was in grade 10, you didn't have to, but now you have to. So it's not even so much about volunteering. When I was in grade 10, all the way up to now in 2024, you've been voluntold. You've been voluntold to help out in the community. Why do we have to tell people to volunteer? Why do we have to do that? We didn't have to do it before. Why do we have to do it now? It's because the adults realized that over time, volunteering went down. People weren't looking out for other people as much. By their actions, it sounded and it looked like they just didn't really give a care about others, especially strangers, unless they got paid, right? Out of the goodness of people's hearts, people used to shovel driveways for others or mow other people's lawns or clean up the garbage and the litter in the community, or they would tutor younger students, or they would visit people in a hospital or visit elderly folks in a nursing home, or referee for the little kids in grade 4 for their intramurals. But then it started to decline. Why? Why are we at a place where we have to tell students to volunteer? I think it's because we didn't tell people what's in it for them. What's in it for you to even go out of your way to do this stuff? If you go onto the Ontario website right now and you look under get your high school volunteer hours, I just jokingly put voluntold hours. This is what it says. They're onto something here. I appreciate this part of the website, right? It's starting to help us understand why. If you look at the bottom, it says here, volunteering helps, number one, develop transferable skills. Okay, that makes sense, especially when you're thinking about getting a job. Look at the second point. Explore different sectors and potential careers. Cool, I dig it, right? This whole launch conference. Hopefully you've all signed up for all of these other sessions that are happening today with these great partners, so you can explore other sectors and potential careers. Look at the third point. Learn about your role as a citizen. Okay, I dig it. Look at the last one. Be aware of how you can support and strengthen your community. I like all this stuff, but you know what? It's missing one thing. This is not incorrect. I just think it's incomplete. It's missing one thing. One thing. All of us are like a glass. And what is the point of a glass? To get filled up, right? The goal of the glass is to get filled up. Everything we do is to get filled up or to be satisfied. As human beings, everything we do in some way, in shape or form, is to be satisfied, to be pleased, to be filled up, right? Why do you put salt and pepper on your food or seasoning on your food? It's because you want to be satisfied in your taste buds. Why do we put pancake syrup on pancakes or jam on our toast? It's to be satisfied, to be filled up in our taste buds. Why do we watch ASMR videos? So satisfying. There's something about being satisfied. Why do you drink when you're thirsty? To literally fill yourself up, right? Why do we look at a beautiful sunrise or a beautiful sunset? Or why do we look at a beautiful picture of somebody that we care about? Because it satisfies something in us. Everything you do is to be satisfied. Everything your teachers do, everything I do is to be satisfied, right? And here's the thing, this might sound controversial, but we just got to acknowledge this. If you focus on yourself, self-focus, and even being selfish, that does feel good, right? Remember when you were in grade 1 and everybody was lining up for the fountain after gym class? If you're the first in line, it feels good to be the first in line. It's satisfying to be self-focused, and it even feels good to be selfish. Wouldn't it feel good after you graduate in grade 12 to just focus only on you, your grades, your post-secondary, your scholarship, your bursaries, your phone, your credits, your career, your money, your fashion, your views, and your followers on your channel? And then when you get older, your family and your home and your nice grass lawn and your decor in your home? Yeah, it is. And it's okay to admit that. It's satisfying to be self-focused. And you know what? It's even satisfying to be selfish. But here's the secret. This is my big life hack for you with 8 minutes left. You ready? This is the big life hack. Being self-focused and selfish does feel good, but being generous, selfless, and serving others actually feels better. And don't just take my word on it. I could be lying to you for all you know, right? I could be a big fraud. Don't just take my word on it, though. Try it. For the next week, be selfish without hurting others. Be selfish. When you're hanging around other people, just be selfish. Put you first, me first, my people first, just me. Okay, do that. If you want to make fun of somebody in a way that you feel like is okay, that's not like anything crazy that's like harming somebody. You want to make fun of, Aubrey, if you're my friend and whatever, you could. I'm not telling you to do that, but you could. And if you have enough people who laugh at your joke, even though it kind of hurts my feelings, you could do that. But most of you know what that's like. If you see somebody who's in need in your community and you don't usually help them out, you could continue that practice. But then you know what I want you to try for a week? Do the exact opposite. Instead of making fun of somebody, go out of your way to show some love and some honor to somebody that you care about. Go out of your way to pay a compliment to somebody in your life, or even in a group setting. You know how weird that would be to your friends, how much that would stand out? This is a picture of my brother, Andrew. He's literally filming me right now. But this is a picture of him and me from like 3 days ago. And this is a text that we sent to each other, right? And this text, I was speaking at a school and I texted him and I said, hey man, I'm 2 hours up north and you just crossed my mind. I'm thinking of you, good brother. Love you, fam. And he responded back saying, love you, brother. And then 4 hours later, when he came to our kids' school and I came to our kids' school to pick up our own kids from school, he saw me across the parking lot and he texted me a new sweater that I had made. And he said, yo, sweater looks good on you, broski. The picture on the right is my boy Matt, who put on his Instagram story, so grateful for your love and friendship, Aubrey. I love you like Curry loves chicken, because Curry does love chicken and we both like curry. You know how weird that would be if people your age did stuff like that a lot? Because everybody's used to just making fun of each other. I'm not saying all of you are, but I am saying imagine what would happen if we were to go out of our way to make somebody's day, to big them up, to encourage them, even if it was strangers with the slightest bit of kindness. In his book, Deep Kindness, Houston Kraft says the average person interacts with 80,000 individuals over the course of their life. Most of it seems like small moments, but you can impact somebody in a big way. It could seem like a forgettable moment, but you might leave somebody with something that is so unforgettable. Why should you go out of your way to volunteer and help people? Because what we really want deep down is not just to be cared for, but to care for others. That's why volunteering actually feels better for the person who does it. It's the little things that we do that can literally have an impact on the whole future. The way I look at it is like we can construct our future or we can demolish our future. Everybody who's in that classroom with you right now, every adult in your life, we were once in grade 10, grade 11, and grade 12. And then you know what happened? We blinked and we became the adults. And we're going to blink again. And some of us won't even be here. Or some of us will be elderly. All of you are in grade 10 and grade 11 and 12. You know what? You're going to blink one day and you're going to be running this place, whether you want to, whether you care to, you're going to be running it. And that's not a sad thing. It's a beautiful thing. The educator Cornelius Minor said, we got to imagine tomorrows that are profoundly better than today. When I talk to the little kids in grade 1, you know what I tell them? I say, grade 1s, I want you to imagine that your whole community got on a giant bus driven by your principal, and you drove that bus to a brand new Ottawa, a brand new Caledon, a brand new Mississauga, a brand new Brampton, a brand new Durham that is sweeter, safer, and stronger for everybody. Can you imagine that? And it's sweeter and safer. I want you to imagine that, grade 1s. This is the way I'll say it to you, grade 12s, with 4 minutes left. You're already on that bus. You're already on it. And we have all of these beautiful differences between us. And I hope you go to all of these beautiful presentations and workshops that are happening. Some of you may go to Carleton. Some of you may go to UBC. Some of you may end up getting really focused in the food and beverage industry. Some of you might be doing really good work for Uber. Some of you might do engineering. Some of you might be at home making your home an amazing place. Some of you might be writing. And this, again, is not just for the students, but also for the teachers. Some of you have some amazing ideas for writing, and we need you to write. The author Ta-Nehisi Coates says that you need to write in a way that haunts people, or at least makes people feel like there's a lot at stake. Do you have any idea how freaked out I was when I got invited to speak to all of you the day after a big presidential election that's happening? I was so freaked out, but not in a scary way, but in there's a lot at stake. And I want all of you to realize how much is at stake with your future. You're going to impact so many things in the world. You're going to impact so much when it comes to ending hunger, helping our world stay green, helping with poverty, helping with ending racism and marginalization. I want to share with you a picture before I say goodbye. And this picture is a picture of a car accident that I was in 3 years ago. This was the last day I ever worked at the jail. I was the only one in the car. I'm the only, I'm still here. As you can see, there's no blood in the picture, but I want you to see what happened. Actually, I won't show it just in case it's triggering for anybody, but it's a really terrible picture of my car upside down. I rolled over 4 times. I almost died. And when this happened, everything in my world changed. Everything. This drunk driver hit me at 160 kilometers an hour. And when he did that, my kids almost lost their daddy. And everything in my world changed. It even changed my business card. This is what my business card looked like afterwards. I covered up my phone number. I don't want anybody texting me. But there's this quote that I found on the back, and it says, do all the good you can, in all the ways you can, to all the souls you can, in every place you can, at all the times you can, with all the zeal you can, energy you can, as long as ever you can. Listen, as you go to these workshops today, please, focus on your future. Focus on making that money. Focus on getting your condo or apartment or home as you get older. Focus on all the great financial goals you have. But I also want you to remember that those things will kind of take care of themselves if we also focus on building our community and building our future and making it sweeter, safer, and stronger. When you are launched into adulthood, I also want you to remember that we only have so many sunrises and so many sunsets. I have this picture in my mind where people are seen, everybody's seen, nobody's ignored. I have a picture of the future that is so good, where crime rates go down, where, people are dreaming out loud and sharing those dreams with other people who are going to make those dreams a reality. I also have this picture in my mind of people who are screaming to get people's attention about really important issues, but they've run out of volume and they have no voice left. And some of you are going to scream on behalf of those other people to get people's attention about important issues. For the sake of time, I'm not going to show it to you, but I was going to show you a music video. I got 30 seconds left. I'll just show you like 20 seconds of the video, and then I'll say goodbye, because it's very much connected to what I'm sharing with you. And it's this idea of, let's be the very thing that we need so that our community can be sweeter, safer, and stronger as we launch. I'll just play you 20 seconds of it, and then I'll say my final goodbye.
About a future where everybody can be seen, 'cause we're down but not out. Yeah, we're down but not out. If I'm here, why not be? Why not be who you need?
That's all I got. I don't have enough time to play you the whole song, but I do want to say a big shout out to the OCDSB, big shout out to the OCSB, big shout out to Renfrew, big shout out to Peel District, big shout out to Durham, and all of you for being here. If you have a phone, take a picture of that QR. It'll share that song with you. I hope it touches your heart. I hope I get to see a lot of you very soon. And I will give the floor to Ramsey, my gracious host, if you're still around, if you'd like to say any closing remarks.
Thank you so much, Aubrey. Amazing speech and presentation, and thank you everyone for being here today at launch. I hope this keynote presentation has set you off on a good path for the rest of the day. Check out the rest of the presentations, and don't forget, if you start in one and you find that your interest changes or you're curious about another session, you can just pop into any session you want during each time block. Enjoy the day, folks. Have a great one, and thank you, Aubrey, so much. Take care, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Enjoy the rest of those sessions, and enjoy that QR if you have a phone. Good day. Thanks for all those kind comments in the chat. Okay, thanks a lot, Farah. I guess I will log off.